The process, the steps for definition of x-intercept and y-intercept, both of them are the same, no matter which type of function you're dealing with. Now we are having a quadratic function. When you have a quadratic function, you have a function of the following form. Y is equal to ax squared plus bx plus c. It happens that a, b, and c are numbers, and the leading coefficient, a, is never 0. Otherwise, we get a linear function which is not the one that we are looking for. So a, b, and c are numbers, and a as the leading coefficient is never 0. We can find x-intercept and y-intercept of any function, especially a quadratic function. Let us take a look at the following example. In this example, we have y equals to x to the second power. Note that a, the leading coefficient, is 1, b and c are 0. A is 1, b is equal to c. They are both 0. Let us find the x-intercept of this function. To find x-intercept, set y equal to 0. So set y equal to 0. What's the meaning of that? It means that on the left-hand side, my y becomes 0. On the right-hand side, you have x to the second power equal to 0. X to the second power is 0 if and only if x is 0. X squared is 0 if and only if x is 0. So we found our x-intercept. X-intercept, or the point of intersection between the graph and the horizontal line, is 0. So x equal to 0 is our x-intercept. What if I ask you to find y-intercept? To find y-intercept, you're going to set x equal to 0. Let us copy down the quadratic function here. Y is equal to x squared, and we set x equal to 0. So my y becomes 0 to the second. 0 to the second. What's the meaning of 0 to the second? It means that you are multiplying 0 by itself 2 times. 0 to the second is 0 times 0, which is 0. So what happened? You got y equal to 0. So my y-intercept is also 0. So what's the graph like? If I want to graph this function, I'm going to discuss parabolas, which are the graphs of quadratic functions in a whole different chapter. But for basic quadratic functions, the graph is called a parabola, and this graph behaves like this. This is the graph of y equals to x squared, and we call it a parabola. As you can see, the point of intersection with x-axis, with y-axis, both of them are at the origin, x equal to 0, and also y equal to 0. Very well. So now I'm changing my function into x squared plus 1. X squared plus 1. As you can see, your A or the leading coefficient is 1, your B is equal to 0, but C is equal to 1. So I want to find my x-intercept. To find x-intercept, I'm going to follow the definition. Set y equal to 0. So y is equal to 0. What's left? On the right-hand side, I have x squared plus 1. Am I right? Okay, it says x squared plus 1 is equal to 0. X squared is always positive. Plus 1 is also positive. The addition of two positive numbers cannot be 0. Okay. Or you might be interested in isolating your x. Subtract 1 from both sides. If you subtract 1 from both sides, what do you get? You get x squared equals to negative 1. X squared equals to negative 1. What's the meaning of that? It means that if I want to isolate my x, I have to take square root of both sides. Now take square root of both sides, all right? So if I take square root of both sides, what happens? It happens that x is equal to plus minus square root of negative 1, which is a complex number. Guys, we're going to talk about complex numbers in the chapter related to quadratic functions. So, complex solutions. What's the meaning of that? It means that the graph doesn't touch x-axis. So the conclusion is the graph has no intersection with x-axis. What about my y-intercept? To find y-intercept, I simply set x equal to 0. So set x equal to 0, but let's write down the quadratic function here. Y is equal to x squared plus 1 and set x equal to 0. So when x is equal to 0, your y is 0 squared plus 1. But we know that 0 squared is just 0. So y becomes 1. So y equals to 1 is the y-intercept. Is the y-intercept. So what is our observation here? If we use Desmos, graph the function is going to be like this. The function, the parabola, is going to be 1 unit upward. 1 unit moved up and it opens upward. So this is your parabola, and as you can see, there is no intersection between the graph and x-axis. No intersection. That's why we got these complex number. No intersection. This is y equals to x squared plus 1. And as you can see, there is no intersection between the graph and x-axis. That's why we got the complex solution. Very good.